Hey guys, Eric, Joshua, and Roth here to talk about more of the Marvel slate that's been announced for Phase 3. Captain Marvel, or as we were just talking, is it Marvel's Captain Marvel?
I think it is going to be Marvel's Captain Marvel. I kind of hope it is. And actually, there's technically a good reason for that. Talk about it.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is the name of a couple different characters. DC actually used to have a character called Captain Marvel, but now they call him Shazam.
We'll
Marvel
be meeting him soon enough.
has like a male character named Captain Marvel, who's this Kree alien who became a Marvel superhero on Earth. But we're talking about the character most of you probably know as Miss Marvel, who donned the mantle of Captain Marvel and became her own superhero. So we're going to get a female-led superhero named Captain Marvel.
And I feel like, though, I mean, I do feel like the rebranding has sort of taken hold, though. Don't you think that most people do when they hear Captain Marvel now think of Carol Danvers? Like, I feel like they do.
I think in the past couple of years there's been a big push, and look, Marvel, they're very smart about this stuff.
Yeah.
They know there's a lot more synergy with the comics and the movies. So yeah, you look at the past couple of years and they went big on Carol, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to call her Captain Marvel, give her a big new launch, make her much more prominent.
And give it time to sort of take shape.
Yeah, for the past couple of years, Kelly Sue DeConnick is the writer of the comic book, has been doing a great job on the Captain Marvel comic book. They gave her this new outfit, this mohawk thing, which is really cool. I really like the look. And she's become like almost a completely reinvented superhero and like reinvigorated. They got rid of the Miss Marvel thing.
Yeah.
And so it's been like really cool. And so her and like a very talented team of artists have really made this book its own. There's this group of fans who call themselves like the Carol Corps, who like all dress up as her as like conventions and stuff.
Aww.
So there's this amazing fandom behind it. A lot of great creative support behind it at Marvel Comic Books. So we've sort of seen this grow in the comic books for a while. She's a huge part of the Avengers. So to see the movie come is like, it's like fireworks. It's amazing.
Let me ask you, we don't have casting information yet, but that's not going to stop us from speculating. I feel like the whole world has been like, Katie Sackhoff, for years now. Like, is there any chance? Do we see Starbuck as Captain Marvel?
Maybe, but I think if you look at Marvel, like they don't necessarily do that. Like, that sometimes he gets people that are like, oh, that's cool, but sometimes it'll just be a curveball.
It'll just be something
or a
we're not
complete
expecting.
unknown,
I can't believe I stumbled over Starbucks' name. I used to make people call me that.
It happens. Look, a lot of people were very, you're saying there's a very passionate fandom. I remember people cosplaying as her like the month after the comic came out immediately. And people were very excited that, yes, Marvel is finally doing a female-led superhero movie because it's taken a while. But my question with this movie is, where will it even be based? Because Carol's an interesting character because, yes, she's an Avenger, she fights on Earth, but she also is a cosmic hero. Yeah. She's had outer space adventures. She's very tied into the Kree and her background, how she got her powers.
Which is a big part of Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. Like, Kree, the alien body and stuff. So,
well, that's one of the things we've been talking about and even asking people about, It looks very much like they're doing that storyline a little bit with this sort of, with the Coulson tale of like, we think it's Kree that brought some kind of Kree DNA or DNA mesh that works for some people and not for others. Do we see her show up on S.H.I.E.L.D.?
What would you say if, they launch, normally they kind of tease characters in that post-credit scene. What if they launched a character out of the TV show?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible, and I think the fact that they just introduced Mockingbird is a big deal because she is an Avenger, and here she is on S.H.I.E.L.D. So we could meet Carol Danvers on S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think everything's on the table right now.
She's like an Air Force pilot. She starts out, and then she gets caught in like an explosion with Captain Marvel, the other Captain Marvel, the alien.
Yeah.
And then she gets infused with powers and stuff. So that's her origin.
Right, but I mean, they're sort of doing, it's fascinating to me because they're not quite doing that, right? But they are doing something where Kree DNA, we think, has been used to bring certain people back to life, and it is changing them.
Right.
One person that has not been affected, and this is totally probably not it all, is Skye.
Yeah, and there's been people who are like, she's Captain Marvel, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel like she could be, or she could be a inhuman. That's a later conversation.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be that, but I think even if we don't meet Carol on S.H.I.E.L.D., it's very possible, the way that they're so intertwined all this, that they are going to seed things that can bleed into that, they can go over into it.
Does she meet up with the Guardians?
I think that's an absolute. I bet you when we get the final cast for this movie, there's at least 1 or 2 Guardians in this movie.
I will say this, in the comic books, she's actually teamed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, so.
Synergy.
It's happening.
Yeah, I think especially when you look at just how big Guardians was, and I think surprised everyone. You know, I think, and again, I'm sure all those guys have big multi-picture deals too. Yeah, when we meet Carol, I have a feeling she'll be hanging out with
Star-Lord.
some familiar.
Oh, she'll be hanging out
or
with
a raccoon.
or a raccoon or a tree.
Yeah.
What if she becomes BFFs?
it's all possible. Anyway, this is one I'm really excited about. I've actually loved Carol Danvers for a long time. She's a crazy history in the comics. She's had like 5 different identities. They're not going to deal with all that. But what are your final thoughts here?
Final
Captain
thoughts
Marvel?
is we finally got a female-led superhero from Marvel in the modern age of superhero movies.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yes.
As a comic fan, I could cry for how happy this is making me. I know a lot of people out there. Props to Kelly Sue DeConnick for seeing this, your reinvention of the character, make it to the big screen. So very cool.
Oh, you know I'm excited. I mean, you know I'm really excited about it. And for all of the reasons that you can imagine and more, I would like to see Katie Sackhoff in it, but if it's not, I'll be excited for whoever it is.
Cool. Well, we'll be following this one very closely for all things Marvel, for all things Captain Marvel, and so much more. Keep it here at IGN.